Global warming poses threats to humanity beyond our immediate comprehension. Climate change is being witnessed by everyone across the globe. The effects are endless. Agricultural produce is affected, and from the weather witnessed these couple of days, you can expect changes in prices of some products in the coming months due to shortages. Energy consumption also changed due to the climate change, and this is what our friends are witnessing due to the unexpected cold weather and the blackouts they are facing due to the inability to provide the power needed. Certain priorities need to be addressed in a more cooperative manner across the globe. Self-sufficiency is certainly a priority because in a crisis, it's what you have back home that you're going to rely on first, and it better be enough. Good evening. You're watching the Business Insider. I'm Salah. Our weekly program tackles events affecting economies and business, and we aim to bring you, as usual, the inside story. All right, let's start with our news for this week, and the first one is that the Egyptian Competition Authority, known as the ECA, could soon see itself empowered after the House Economics Committee gave preliminary approval to amendments to the Competition Act, that's Law 3 for the year 2005. This would give the ECA the power to reject mergers and acquisitions, and would require companies to notify it of any plan to merge or undertake an acquisition, and would give the ECA the power to approve or reject the transaction. Currently, the authority can raise red flags, but only after a transaction is concluded. The committee-level approval of the amendments is just the first step, and the business community will certainly seek reassurances. And for our final news item, the Prime Minister says that Egypt does not have the luxury of another lockdown. This statement was made by Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli during his meeting with the committee chairpersons in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. He said that a lockdown would affect the livelihood of daily and seasonal labor in a number of sectors, and that those form a large part of the country's labor force. The Prime Minister highlighted that the concerted effort exerted by the government has led to the positive economic indicators contrary to many other countries around the world. All right, now coming up next, fish resource development, and our guest is Dr. Salah Moselhy, the chairman of the General Authority for Fish Resource Development. Stay with Business Insider. Business Insider, I'm Salah, and I have the pleasure to be joined by the professor, the renowned professor, Dr. Salah Moselhy, the chairman of the General Authority for Fish Resource Development. A pleasure to have you with us on the show tonight. We'll be discussing fish resource development.
Yes.
We'll be discussing the challenges. But first, let's watch this report and come back to start our discussion.
Over the past decades, Egypt has succeeded in increasing the supply of food at the national level, but the rate of population growth is a major challenge. Minister of Planning Hala Said said on Tuesday that the country is witnessing a rapid and steady increase in population growth rates, noting that the number of births in 2020 recorded over 2.3 million at a rate of 194,000 births a month. That is 6,480 births per day, and one birth every 13 seconds. That means the high rates of population growth efface the results of a development efforts are negatively affecting the citizens' standard of living and quality of life, according to the minister. Another effect is malnutrition, which hinders development. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the coexistence of both forms of malnutrition, over and undernutrition, lead to facing the triple burden of malnutrition with what entails of economic and human costs. Stunting, which means low height or age, is an indicator of chronic malnutrition among children and is above 20%, while overweight and obesity show alarming figures among adults and are on the rise among children. Anemia, on the other hand, continues to be a problem of public health among children and women in childbearing age. The impact of malnutrition on the well-being of children and on both the human and economic capitals is vast. Malnutrition accounts for 35% of the disease burden in children younger than the age of 5. Poor early nutrition leads to poor school readiness and performance, resulting in fewer years of schooling and lower quality of learning. Stunting and anemia, on the other hand, lower productivity in physical labor. Stunted children become stunted adults, who are 2 to 6% less productive than adults with normal structure. It is estimated that a 1% decrease in adult stature is associated with 1.4% decrease in productivity. This is why the country's leadership embarked on the initiative known as the 100 Million Health in reference to the country's population, as well as to the many mega projects that led to self-sufficiency, whether we're talking about agricultural produce, livestock, or fisheries.
Welcome back. I'm joined by the renowned Professor Dr. Salah Moselhy, who is currently the chairman of the General Authority for Fish Resource Development. Pleasure having you on the show once again. You heard the report. We're talking about not only the mega projects in terms of fisheries, but we're talking about the effects of not having them. The malnutrition because of the poor nutrition practices that are experienced by parents to the children, and not necessarily parents who don't have enough means, but being educated enough to feed your children and to raise them properly is certainly a main issue. But projects and authorities like yours contribute to providing the resources necessary to feed the population. And here we're talking about the your authority, the Fish Resource Development Authority. So basically, the production of the fish resource is your responsibility. What does that entail? Where are we? And what is your biggest challenge? 3 questions in one.
Okay, first of all, for the poverty and for the the decreased growth of the youth and of the babies need an important source of protein, which is animal protein. The fish is considered as one of the most important source of animal protein for the peoples. Animal protein is very important for the growth and for the other metabolic activities of the human being. So more than that, fish as a protein is more digestible, easily absorbed, easily assimilated, and metabolic process is much more easier. Fish as a resource also contain the huge of minerals and trace element and vitamins and omega-3 and all nutritive value that required for the different stages of human being. In Egypt, our fish resources is subdivided into 2 major sectors. The first sector, which is a collection of fish from the open water, I mean the fisheries, which include the Mediterranean Sea, the Red Sea, the Suez Canal, the Nile, and our Egyptian lakes. We have 9 Egyptian lakes in Egypt. And the other sector for fish production is production of fish from farm or fish farming. The fish farming is also subdivided into 2 sectors. The production of fish from farm using fresh water, which is called aquaculture, and the production of fish from seawater or marine water, which is called mariculture. So the fish production in Egypt, either from fisheries or fish farming. Our production in Egypt is almost over than 2 million tons of fish. 20% of this amount from fish farming, including both aquaculture and mariculture. The aquaculture at the current time represent 90% of the amount of the 80%, and the other 10% from mariculture or from production of fish from marine water or seawater. This 80% represent almost 1,600,000 kilogram of fish. This is from fish farming. The other 20% are obtained from collection of fish from open water or from fisheries, I mean from the Mediterranean Sea, 20%. From this 20%, the Mediterranean produced 20%, 2%. And the other 2% from the Red Sea, 4% from the Nile and derivatives, and 11% from our lakes, which represented almost 400,000 kilogram of fish. So the 2 million production, 2 million ton of fish production is 80% from fish farming and 20% from fisheries. Our big challenge in the current time is the sustainable development of fish resources. General Authority for Fish Resources are responsible to maintain our productivity in a maximum level, are responsible to improve our production in all sectors, are responsible to use the recent technology to increase the fish production, are responsible to minimize the water resources used during the cycle of fish production, are responsible to support the major national project that occur in Egypt or used in Egypt in the recent year through saving and have a construction for new hatcheries to support this major project by the fry to be used in the culture system. So we have hope and we have challenges. The challenges is to produce to increase our production, to maintain our level. We in Egypt are number 6 in the world in the fish production. Egypt is leading the fish production through fish farming in Africa. Egypt is the number 3rd in the world in production of tilapia, which is very popular fish in Egypt and other countries. Our challenge also is to maximize our production, to minimize the use of water resources, to use other technical uses and technical instruments to improve our production, to diverge our fish farming to be integrated fish farm, I mean using the water in fish production and other plant production, to start having some farm in the desert using underground water, to maximize the production from the seawater by having a new cages that we are going to plan to have almost 21 cage in the Mediterranean Sea and Red Sea. All these resources and hope and challenges is very important in the future to maximize our production and maintain our level throughout the world.
Maximizing production, number one, let's start at home. Maximizing production would lead to a decrease in price. You said that we are the 3rd in the production of tilapia.
Yes.
And I believe in mullet as well, we're somewhere, we produce mullet.
Yes.
Which is the low cost, if you will, low cost fish.
Yes. Yeah.
Therefore, you can provide this source of protein to the population. Yeah. However, it's not very well, it's not a habit for us to be eating fish like 3 times a week, for example.
Yeah.
And that's a major source of protein.
Yes.
And here, with these resources like the sea, the Nile, the lakes that you've been mentioning, there seems to be something wrong somewhere. Yeah. Why don't we have enough production for our population, number one?
Okay. First of all, our production provide Egyptian by 20 kilogram of fish a year. The standard level or international level based on the FAO of the United Nations is 20.5. So our production of fish and the amount that available for the Egyptian people are very good. But the challenge is to keep this amount and to maximize and increase, because we have a gap for the availability of animal protein from other resources. You know, the animal protein from red meat, I mean cattle and sheep and goat, from poultry, from eggs, from milk, and from fish. So it's almost...
And fish is the healthiest.
And the fish is the healthy and most promising source of animal protein in the future for the Egyptian. Our strategy for development of animal and fish production for 2030 is to maximize and increase the availability of animal protein for the Egyptian by 4 grams a day. Okay, 50% of this 4 grams, I mean 2 grams, will be from fish. This is our hope. And the other 50% will be from other sources. I mean the red meat, the white meat, and the
when
milk
I
and
hear
eggs.
when I hear you saying 4 grams, to me it's negligible. But there must be a scientific explanation for the 4 grams.
Yes, yes.
What does this 4 gram represent?
This 4 grams represent, if we look to the international standard for the amount required from animal protein for the human, it's almost 25 kilograms a year. Okay, the Egyptian right now taking 21.5 kilograms a year. So the gap is almost 4 kilograms a year. If you divide it through the whole year or the whole months, you will have a gap, and this 4 grams will support this gap in the future.
Yeah. Per day?
Yeah, per day. Yeah, 4 grams per day. But the gap is 4 and 4.5 kilograms a year. Okay? So if you provide this amount, you will be very near to the standard of animal protein that given for the human people in the Egyptian in comparison with other countries.
When you say we're 6 in the world in fish production, we're 3rd in tilapia. However, exporting needs to have certain quality.
Yes, sure.
If you will.
Yeah.
Do we have room for export development in this sector?
Yes, actually, in the few last months, we are working on expanding the amount of export of fish to Europe and to other countries. In the last year or 2020, we export 35,000 kilograms of fish to abroad. This is, of course, a very small amount, but we expect in the future that with the major national project that developed recently, the production of marine fish will be much more in amount, and we don't have some restriction with the European countries by exporting our marine fish. It's very popular, it's very wanted, it's very desirable for most European countries. So we hope our major national project will support to increase the production. And also, right now, we have expanded our freshwater farms and our freshwater aquaculture by different activities and different sectors. So we are currently negotiating with the European Union representative to just have some information and to exchange requirement between us and Europe countries, and they have the availability to come and to check our unique farm that produce a high quality fish, and this amount of fish or this quality fish could be very easily to be exported to abroad.
Some say that the high cost of fish, even by being farmed here farmed locally, is due to the cost of the feed.
Sure.
So basically, this industry is two-pronged. One is the farming, but you have a major cost in this process, which is the feed that you import from abroad.
Yes, yes.
Are there initiatives to change this a little bit and to decrease the cost to have the feed produced locally?
Sure, sure. Well, you are right. Almost 60 to 70% of the cost of the produced fish are related to the feed. We have 2 types of feed, depend on the type of fish produced in Egypt. The marine fish or seawater fish have a special type of feed, and this is very expensive, almost 23,000 for 1 ton. And the freshwater...
23,000 what? Pounds?
Pound.
Pounds.
Yes. And for the freshwater fish is almost 7,000. Okay, 7,000 pounds for a ton. a great difference in the price and also in the productivity of freshwater fish, taking almost 8 to 10 months, and the marine fish taking 18 to 24 or even 30 months. So this prolonged amount of culture with increased expenses and make the price of the marine fish is very expensive. In the same time, we are currently having too many factories in Egypt producing feed for both freshwater and marine fish, but still discussing with the Ministry of Agriculture the possibility of having the ingredient, because most of the ingredient of these feed are imported from outside. Of course, this is very costly, and this is why these type of feed are expensive. So we are trying to have the facilities that required for the ingredient of this feed to be cultured in Egypt, to be manufactured in Egypt, and also this will minimize the cost of this feed, which of course reflected on the cost of the fish.
Yeah. We're sixth in the world in fish production,
Yes.
as you said.
Yes.
And we are blessed, again, I go back to the same point, we're blessed with two seas, the Nile, and you have all the lakes that you've been mentioning, the nine lakes you've been mentioning,
Yes.
and so on. Still, you have many challenges locally.
Yes. Yeah.
One of which is, I believe, trespassing on the lakes can be one of the main challenges.
Yes.
What's being done in that regard?
Actually, in the last decades, our lakes and even the Mediterranean and Red Sea was ignored from follow-up, from improvement, from maintaining their productivity, from guidance to protect them from invasion or illegal activities on these lakes. So our president, Egyptian president, just give recommendation that our lakes should be improved, should be maintained, should be protected from any invasion or unofficial activities done on these lakes, should having all the facilities to maximize their productivity. And since 2 or 3 years, we are working very hard in our lakes. We have 9 lakes. We have Mariot Lakes in Alexandria, then Edkuret Lake in Buhaira, then Prolis Lake in Kafr Sheikh, and then El Manzala Lake in Dumyat and Dakhaliya, and then El Bardawil Lake at North Sinai. Then we have Timsah and Timsah Lake in Ismailia and Al Murra. And then go to the down, we have Qarun Lakes and Rayyan Lakes in Fayoum, and finally we have Nasser Lakes at Aswan. All these 9 lakes produce almost 220 or 30,000 kilogram fish. Of course, this is not maximum production. This is not enough for this huge surface area of lakes. So we last 2 years and the coming 2 or 3 years, we are working very hard. Our Egyptian president follow up in a daily basis all activities and all improvement and all successful approaches that done on our lakes to maximize their production. We have a very big plan for our lakes. We are working very hard to improve their productivity, to make variety on the fish productivity in these lakes, and we have also cooperation with the Ministry of Interior Affairs to protect from illegal fishing, from illegal activities, and from overfishing on these lakes, and also to push and recommend the fishermen to follow up the regulation and rules for using the boats, the character of the boats, the character of the net, that not allowing for making fishing from these lakes, which is very important for the process of hatchery and the process of spawning of the fish. So we are currently using this regulation to improve our lakes and also to maximize their production under the guidance and follow-up of our Egyptian president.
You mentioned 9 lakes.
Yes.
But I believe one is a very special characteristic, which is the Nasser Lake.
Yeah.
Because basically it falls right before the Aswan Dam.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So this has its own characteristic, its own character, if you will. Let me just tell you something very personal. When I was a little kid,
Okay.
I remember we used to receive a carton every month, I think. And in it was these slices of beautiful white fish inside. And I remember it was delicious. I don't know the name in English, but it's called ish bayad in Arabic, and it was filet.
Yes,
And it was really delicious, and it used to come from the Nasser lake.
Yeah.
Since then, we haven't heard anything from the Nasser lake, to the extent that we heard that the fish have become savage over there, and the only creatures that are benefiting from this wild fish, huge fish, are the crocodiles. Why aren't we benefiting?
Actually, Lake Nasser is the biggest lake in the world. It's almost 1,250,000 faddan. This is very big surface area. The water in Lake of Nasser is very pure. The physical-chemical parameter of the water is very pure. No discharges, no industry sewage, nothing at all. And so the productivity of fish is very good. The quality of the fish is very high. And this fish is unique, and their nutritive value is very high. But in the last decades, we have too many things happen that make the follow-up and improvement of the lakes just a little bit slow in their speed. Also, in the past, the fishermen in the lake was a few hundred. Right now, we have over than 10,000 fishermen in Lake of Aswan. They are using, they have their family, they are using the fish from the lakes, they are working there every time. Some of them not follow the regulation and rules for fishing and all regulation for the tools of fishing. And also in the last few years, too many authorities just leading the lake, and this make probably this depend on this or this ignore this and something like this. But in the future, the new vision for the lakes and for the whole authority for fish resources is just to be as a one unique authority to be responsible for everything. This will make the good plan for.
So the scattered jurisdiction will basically unite into being one authority.
Yes, one authority. This will have a
Do
clear
we know
plan.
when this will be?
Probably within few months or a few weeks. Yeah, this will have a clear plan. Everyone will know his responsibility to follow up everything on this lake. And also, next Sunday, I will have a meeting with the fishermen from Aswan, just to put some regulation for the work, to put some rules, and also to have organization between the society there, because they are very huge in number, and the resources there is somewhat not in an exact way. Also, we have too many hatcheries through Egypt. We will be happy to provide the Lake Nasser or other lakes by the fry to maximize the amount of fish that's available on these lakes. So we are working on steps that just to improve the status of Lake of Nasser and other lakes in the near future.
Okay, so this is a worthy piece of news, having a unified authority, so thereby you will not have any claims to jurisdiction by any...
This is actually a problem since a few years, yeah, or too many years on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Would this authority look into... There are challenges I'm not an expert, but I would say the supply chain needs to be addressed, the distribution of the produce needs to be addressed. Do you have an issue there?
Yeah, of course. We have highlighted the importance of each lake and the different sites and their productivity and their problems. We have identified.
Transporting.
Exporting.
I mean transporting.
Transporting, yeah.
the production?
For transport the production. We have some ports there, and probably in the future we will have a very high technology transportation through all Egypt. I don't know if you have joined us during the opening of the major national project last few weeks with our president. They are talking about having a new technology for transportation through Egypt, like trains or something like this, will be very unique and very important. Also, we have too many airports right now, so transportation of fish through an airplane or this airport is very easy. Improving our port also and improving in the few coming months the technical activities and technical achievement of the different ports. We will have a new ports in Egypt. We will have a new ships in Egypt. They will facilitate the transportation of the product from Aswan to middle of Egypt or to Cairo very fast.
What about upgrading the capabilities and the know-how of the fishermen themselves, training?
Yeah.
Would that fall under the jurisdiction of the new authority?
Oh yes, we have almost 42 offices through whole Egypt, different government or even large cities. These offices are responsible to serve over than 200,000 of fishermen in Egypt that officially having certificate, and also have over than 100 society, 100.1 society for fisheries and aquaculturists. We are supervising and supporting these
associations, you mean?
Association or societies, yes. We are supporting their activities. We are joining them in different activities. We have a training programs. We have some workshop. We're providing the fishermen by all information and all technical issues that are responsible to their activities during fishing of fish from different water sources.
Where's the private sector in all of this?
Oh, private sector is are playing a very important role in fish production in Egypt. As I mentioned before, we have two sectors. The major sectors, which produce 80% of fish, which represent 1,600,000 kilograms of fish from fish farming. Private sector represent over than 80% of this amount. So we have a very expert private fish farming technologist, engineer, veterinarian, specialist in fish production, specialist in hatcheries, specialist in management. Private sector playing a very important role in fish production in Egypt. So we are all time providing them by the technical issue, by the training program, providing them by all the technical tissue and lab facilities that needed for maintaining their fish farm and fish health in very good condition.
Would we expect that the prices would decrease in the near future?
I think with increase.
And what would we need to decrease the prices?
Okay, I think we are planning to maximize our production by the coming 5 years from 2 million ton to 2.5 million ton, 2.5 million ton. If we keep our population number in the same level, I expect this increased amount, of course, will support to have a cheaper fish in the future.
Because there will be more supply.
More supply, yes, yes. Also, we import 500,000 kilograms of fish just to maintain our requirement throughout the year. Of course, the increase in the production will minimize the importation of this amount of fish. Also, increase the production will maximize the exportation of fish to the other countries.
Because there's something that certainly puts me at awe when I see, for example, when I go and buy fish and I find, or let's take another example. You have shrimp.
Yes.
You're farming shrimp.
Yes.
And you are also fishing for shrimp.
Yes.
The local shrimp, the Egyptian shrimp, is much more expensive than the imported one.
Yes. Yeah.
one would think that a country like ours, you'd have oversupply in such a produce, and that would be given to the people as a source of protein, a very good source of protein.
Yes.
But the prices are exuberantly expensive compared to the imported
probably
produce.
because in the past we don't have much more farm producing shrimp. But recently, in the last 2 years or this year and the coming years, we will have more production of shrimp. 3 weeks ago, our Egyptian president celebrated the opening of new shrimp farm in east of Port Said. At the same day while he was celebrating, and we all celebrating opening a major project in the east of Port Said, El Fairuz project. So in the future, our shrimp production will be increased. But still also we have to work on the feed price, because the feed price is shrimp eating natural feed, and sometimes the requirement for the feed is also expensive. So if we have some resources here for the different source. We currently working in the General Authority for Fish Resources to construct and to build a new hatcheries for marine fish in Port Said. We maximize and improve our only marine fish in Kilo 21 in Alexandria right now. And we have also a new hatchery for mollusks in Ismailia.
For?
Mollusks.
Which is?
Which is all other type rather than the scaly fish and the spine fish. Like all other type of fish that used during snacks and something like this. Okay. So these resources will be very helpful and supportive to our programs. In the same time, we are looking to maximize our production for marine fish. To have it very available for our Egyptian and also for export. So all these activities will make the fish much more available and easily. In our also authority, we have 3 farms. We produce right now almost 100 tons of fish a day. And this is a very good amount also to cover the market. But as you know, there are many other issues that controlling the price of the fish rather than the cost of the fish itself.
That's why I was asking you about the transportation mechanism.
Because we sometimes sell the fish in our farm by 20 pounds, but in the market it reaches to 30 or 35. This is because somebody else is just controlling and playing on this area during the marketing process.
That's why I was asking you about the supply chain and the transportation mechanism. So under the unified authority, all these issues will be under its jurisdiction.
Sure. We are working very hard on it. We have identified our issue, our challenges, our hopes, and the objectives of these challenges and how we can approach and solve it.
Dr. Salah Moselhy, the Chairman of the General Authority for Fish Resource Development. Pleasure having you on the show tonight. Thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck.
My pleasure for you too. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us, and please join us same time next week. I'm Ayman Salah. Good night.